Welcome back to the AI Driven Marketer. I'm Dan Sanchez. My friends call me Dan Chez. And today we're talking about the best AI tools for marketers. Because, as you all know, there are thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of marketing tools that now have AI built into them, right? It's pretty much every tool that we were using before now equipped with AI. The problem is, most of them suck. Most of them aren't helpful on a day-to-day basis. So what do you do? Where do you go from here? I want to share with you my 7 favorite that I'm using on a near daily basis that I've vetted and I've worked and I've beaten to death because they're just so freaking productive that I can't get away from them. And I just want to say to the rest of them, I don't know. People keep sending me links to ones, and because they know I'm the AI marketing guy, they just assume that I've seen it. I haven't. I probably haven't seen the tool. Honestly, beyond these core tools that I'm going to show you today, I've seen very few of the tools out there because I just find that most of them are junk, and some of them just don't do better what I'm already doing with these 7 tools. And I'm looking all the time. I'm exploring and testing and figuring out new stuff, but there's so many of them and so little time that I find that I just use these 7 over and over again. And you know what? They've gotten better over time. So I haven't found a way, like a reason to get away from them yet because they keep getting better. So without further ado, let's dive into the 7 tools that you should be using as a marketer. The first one is kind of, come on, like we have to start off with the general one first. So I'm sorry, but like ChatGPT, like if you're not paying for ChatGPT in 2024, like what are you doing? And I'll give you, if you're paying for Gemini or you're paying for Claude, fine. Those are fine. I stick with ChatGPT because you know what? Just freaking commit to one and just stick to it for more than 3 months. Yes, they get better, they go back and forth. ChatGPT just launched 01 preview. It's the top model now. It's okay, great. I'm pretty sure Claude has an announcement they're going to make this week, and they will outdo 101 preview. But then ChatGPT will come back. Doesn't really matter. Just pick one system and commit to it. I'm pretty committed to the ChatGPT kind of ecosystem. I'm an Apple guy. It's got a nice desktop app like I have here. And honestly, I use it all the time. I use this for everything that these other tools don't do. I'm probably using ChatGPT for. I use it for everything from just research, ideation, just having something to bounce ideas off of, troubleshooting problems with Adobe Illustrator. Like I could take screenshots. I can upload stuff to it, files, Google Docs, photos, spreadsheets, copy paste code into it. I can write code with it. I can just record my voice and kind of rant about something for 5 minutes, even 10 minutes. I've literally dumped 5 minutes of me just trying to explain a problem to it and give it proper context. And then I actually click it, and you can see even here on my screen, it's gone and transcribed everything for me, so I don't have to write it out. I could just word vomit and then give it the problem, and then it fixes it for me. It's fantastic. Even here, I have all my custom GPTs to automate the processes of everything. Here I have my showrunner, which is my favorite and most used GPT, to help me do all the pre-production for my podcast episodes, especially with guests. It does all the research on the guest, finds the angle, finds the title, makes the outline, even writes the email for the guest, comes up with show notes. All the stuff is based on a custom GPT. If you want access to it, you want to make your own custom GPT based on the instructions I've written, go to myshowrunner.com. I've given it away for it freely there, so go check it out. I need to update that soon, so stay tuned for My Showrunner 2.0. That's maybe in the next few weeks. That'll be coming. But ChatGPT, man, it is the one AI tool that can freaking rule them all. If I only had one AI tool, it would just be ChatGPT because it's so freaking useful and across a wide, broad tool set for marketing, from coming up with content to helping you do strategic work. I have a backlog of episodes of all the things I've shown people how to do with just ChatGPT. Okay, so number 1 tool, ChatGPT. Let's move on though. A second favorite tool, and it's the one I'm using to record this video freaking right now, is amazing. And it used to be Loom. It's called, but this one's not Loom. It's called Tella. It's like the upgraded Loom. It's like the Loom if you were a creator, the Loom if you were just using it to create content for marketing, because it's 10 times better than Loom. What makes it 10 times better? Well, it gives you video editing abilities without having to be in a video editor, without having to download a Premiere Pro, a Final Cut, a CapCut, or any of those things. It helps me make these videos. In fact, I don't even edit the videos. I just edit them here in Tella, because Tella actually allows me to record my screen like I'm here now, but allows me to then, like here, I have an opening. You probably saw this releasing its updates to create breadth, so full screen, and then I just added a layout, and that then goes to this side-by-side thing. So even as you're watching this video now and you see my head over on the right side and that you were watching the screen now, like I did in this one, you can have animated backgrounds. And the cool thing is it uses AI to go and trim it. This is the important part. And this is where AI is really helpful, because it can, again, just kind of find all the filler words, remove them, creates the transcript, removes the silences, and removes the buffers, and uses AIs to do all that and create the transcripts. It's a really simple AI use case, but I find one that's just extremely helpful. And it even uses AI to come up with the titles with it. Loom does some of these things too, but this one just does it better, creates better content, and just does it faster, to the point where I've just gotten rid of Loom and I've gone all in on Tella. That, and I find Loom's getting more expensive, and Tella's been holding strong. So thank you, Tella. This isn't a sponsored video by any of these tools, by the way, in case you were wondering, because I'm so enthusiastic about them. No sponsorships, just telling you about my favorite tools that I'm using all the time. Hence, I'm using it right now to make this video. There's the point. I'm actually using these tools all the time, and it's really, really handy. So I use Tella to make awesome solo videos and screen recordings. I make it for this podcast. I use these kinds of videos even to just answer questions on LinkedIn all the time. If you want to get someone's attention, record a nice little video and send them a link to it. It's a fantastic way to get their attention and turn a follower into a fan through video, one-to-one video. It's really good for that. You can even embed little animated GIFs and send them in an email if you really want to catch someone's attention. It's a fantastic tool, and is now my go-to one-to-one video creation tool and just solo creator tool out there. So Tella.tv, check it out. Zencastr is my other video content creation tool, because if you're a marketer, content creation is kind of the name of the game, right? You have paid media, and then you have content creation, and then there's other bunch of stuff up there like PR and strategic relationships and all that kind of stuff. But let's be honest, most of the work of marketing these days is running paid ads and coming up with content. And let's even the paid ads is content these days. So you got to come up with lots of content. And Zencastr is my favorite tool specifically for doing interviews. And it's also where I take this solo video that I'm recording right now through Tella, and then we'll upload it for distribution through Zencastr. So what is Zencastr? Zencastr is kind of like your all-in-one podcasting tool. It really does everything. Shoot, it would even be a great YouTube tool, because it uploads directly to YouTube. You can see on my screen here, it's got all the different places it gets syndicated to from. Of course, Zencastr has its own little network, RSS, Apple, Castro, Podfriend, CastBox, Overcast, and of course all the other podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. It just automatically goes here as soon as I upload my episodes here. But it's more than a podcast host. You can actually record sessions here. You can see I have a session here that I recorded with Lisa. That was a past episode. If you haven't checked it out, it's one of my favorites. And it created episode, had separate recorded files that are uploaded in the background. So you get high resolution podcasts, right? Because if you're not doing video podcasts, you're missing out. YouTube's become the biggest part of podcast viewership today. It actually just overtook Spotify. So if you're not making video podcasts, do that. And the cool part is it will then take it. It does what Riverside does. It uploads the video, but then it goes through all the processes. Let's see if I can even pull it up real quick. Go to preview, give you a little demo. Go to edit, and it will come up not only with your long form content, but then automatically using AI detect all the best nuggets you dropped in the podcast episode or your guest dropped in the podcast episode and turn them into all the clips. It even remembers all the styles that I've already set for my captions, so that's already ready to go. It's already preloaded my intro and outro for the podcast on there. If you're ever wondering, that's just fully automated. And it's the fastest way for me to come up with content now. You can edit the episode via the transcript, but it automatically goes through and cuts out all the filler words. ums and ahs, of course, or advanced filler words. It removes long pauses, and it kind of does all the basic editing you would ever need to do. In fact, that's all I'm doing for my podcast episodes anymore. I'm not doing any advanced edits. I'm just having real conversations with real people doing awesome work and then just publishing it as fast as possible. So Zencastr has become the fastest way to produce lots of content really quickly, and used to take like 2 weeks, a whole team of people, 2 weeks at Sweetfish Media, where I used to work, to produce one episode. Now I can do in about, 60, 90 minutes, depending on how many clips there are to review and either kill or publish or edit before they go out. But it's so nice because in just right after recording the interview, it's already up. I don't have to upload it. It's already there. I edit it. I publish it. I get the clips and I go through them all. Let's see, let's find some. I go through all the clips and I either publish them, I archive them, or I edit them right there. So it's just so nice to be able to go through and click it. It's all in one place. And then you can publish all your long form podcast episodes to everywhere it needs to go, and then publish your short form to all the different social channels to then promote the long form episode. And it's just so fast, and uses AI to do all the little writing in between. Because, even if you have the clip, there's always that problem of like, well, you got to add some text to it. You got to add the header text to it. You got to come up with the captions on top of the clip. There's all this writing, but they use AI to go and create all that and fill in all these little tiny tasks you'd have to do that would slow this whole process down. Zencastr makes it easy, which is why they've become probably, after ChatGPT, gosh, it's kind of a tie between Tella and Zencastr, but if I have to give the nod to something, it's going to be Zencastr for becoming the powerhouse of content creation. I can't really speak highly enough about Zencastr. They're crushing it with their tool, and I've seen a demo. What they have coming out next is even better. But I'm crushing it with what they have right now, able to put out content with minimal effort and time. And for somebody who's doing a lot of work and only has so much time for this podcast, it becomes a big deal. So what do we got? We got ChatGPT, we got Tella, we got Zencastr. Moving on, we have HighLevel. HighLevel, oh my gosh. HighLevel is like one of those all-in-one tools. I used to be an Infusionsoft guy back when I was doing some higher ed marketing. I used to do all of my marketing automation. Now that's kind of died out, and HighLevel has become the tool. The cool thing about HighLevel is you can have all your instances in it. If you pay the $300 a month, you can have multiple instances of it, run multiple businesses out of it, or have clients have their own instances of it. So that's kind of what's unique about HighLevel. But we're not here to talk about the awesomeness that is HighLevel. Really, we want to know, what about AI and HighLevel? Well, HighLevel is one of those generic tools that does everything from text message marketing, email marketing, marketing automation, website building, funnel building, reputation management. It does all the stuff. It just does it. I do my invoicing through here, and it does e-commerce. I receive payments through it. I track all my product sales. I have a membership platform. I have courses built into this thing. It does every freaking thing I would ever want to do as a marketer. HighLevel does. It's cheap. It's like $100 a month. For $300 a month, you get unlimited instances of it. It's just like, what the heck? It's just so cheap that it's become a no-brainer tool for me. Shoot, I even host my WordPress site here, and it's really good. And I'm picky about WordPress hosting. So just kind of goes to show you, like, HighLevel does a lot. But let's talk about how I use HighLevel for AI. They actually have a social media tool in here where you can use AI to come up with social content. I don't really use it that much. What I really use that I think is the most interesting is using AI in the journey builder, or in the workflows or automations, whatever you want to call it, your marketing automation. You can use AI in this. In fact, here's a sequence I made called the newsletter builder that I reviewed in a past podcast episode that I used to come up with my newsletter content. I actually fill out a form with something like the transcript from this very episode, and I have a few pieces of information I put it, including the transcript, and then it takes that transcript and then pings ChatGPT. Here it's ChatGPT 4.0 specifically, and then injects all the information that I gave it to in the form, and then comes up with this prompt. Then it captures that information, stores it in a field, and then goes back to ChatGPT to come up with some more pieces of the newsletter, and then essentially builds all the content out in the newsletter, stores it in the right places, and then a different sequence actually sends it out to the whole newsletter base. I don't even build the newsletter anymore. I just let AI run my newsletter. And because it's coming from my transcript, from my content, I know it's going to have a certain level of credibility with the AI newsletter, to the point that I don't even check it anymore because it's so spot on. Once it's gotten it wrong, And, that's cool because I just learned from the lesson. I remember what it can and can't do. But generally, it's fantastic to see what you can automate in here. Yeah, I've even automated this to email my guests after the podcast episode goes out, and it comes up with tweets for them based on that episode. And it does a fantastic job of it. So this is where I think a lot of future work will be done, is not necessarily coming up with these one-off tools. It's having AI integrated into your current marketing automation tools. And maybe it's HighLevel, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's HubSpot. Maybe it's Salesforce. Maybe whatever it is, whatever you're doing marketing automation with, AI is probably plugging into it, and it's able to manipulate the data as things run through your marketing automation sequences. That's where a lot of the leverage is going to happen for marketers. So if you're already not, maybe you're like, well, I'm not in marketing ops. Like, roll up your sleeves a little bit and figuring out how to become marketing ops oriented, because this is what's going to drive a lot of progress in the future for AI marketers. Learn how to automate things. Figure out what are the things that you're doing repetitively that you can then turn into step-by-step instructions as if you're going to delegate it, and then figure out how to automate it and how AI can actually be part of that process. This is the game. And I wanted to automate a newsletter, and this was part of the sequence that I learned how to automate a newsletter with. And I'm doing it through HighLevel. I freaking love HighLevel. It's a great, great tool, and they have a lot of AI built into it, and they're doing more all the time. So I'm excited about that. My next tool is a fantastic tool called CastMagic. While I'm probably using just ChatGPTs and custom GPTs to do this specific task more often, I'm still using CastMagic quite a bit. What you do is you upload your podcast or any video or audio content, really. It could be sales calls. It doesn't really matter what it is. You can upload it to CastMagic, and it transcribes it for you, identifies the speakers in it. This was actually a guest episode that I reposted last week onto the AI-driven marketer, but I needed some text content. So I uploaded it to CastMagic. It and then came up with all the different assets for it, for title ideas, my show notes, resources mentioned, so I can get those in the show notes. Timestamps, MidJourney prompts. Yes, I actually have it give me my MidJourney prompts, which is my next tool. Post, actionable advice for marketers. I was trying to get this on the website. I haven't been super consistent with that, but it can come up with all the text content, and then you can go to Magic Chat, which is really just ChatGPT that's already armed with the transcript that it has, and then you can ask it to build you tweets or whatever kind of text content you want based on that transcript. It's a very powerful tool, and you can build your own prompts so that every time you upload something, it spits out something new. Like I had to do MidJourney prompts. You might want something else. You might want to upload customer interviews and put the story breakdown outline or the headers or a narrative or whatever the heck you want out of each one. You can build and have these pins so that every time it creates all this content for you, and you get to decide what that is. It's just a nice tool that if you have a reoccurring piece of audio or video content you want to turn into a lot of text content, this is the best way to do it. I've seen people get really creative with this tool because even though it seems like it has a narrow focus, you could use this in so many ways, from turning sales calls into marketing assets to even taking prospective buyers that are maybe speaking on stage a lot and then turning their messages into outlines so you can have something to go outbound to them with. So there's all kinds of little creative ways you can use this thing because you don't even have to own the content you run through this. You could literally just plug YouTube videos into it if you need to, if that's useful to you. So CastMagic, great AI tool that comes up with lots of content, makes it easier for us marketers. The sixth tool is MidJourney. While ChatGPT has DALL-E and can create some images, and they're not bad, MidJourney is really where the best image creation is for AI right now. You can see I have a bunch of pictures here. I generally create a lot of images. Like here, I was producing a podcast for Close Mode, a sales podcast, and the title was around B2B street fighting. And so I was like, I need a picture. I had a CastMagic come up with some ideas, and you could see it generated a bunch of ideas. One of them was a guy in a boxing gloves. I'm like, that's more straightforward. I think I'll stick to that. So I ended up picking this guy, and then I upscaled it to be even larger to be this guy here, and I downloaded this. It's actually a huge file. So MidJourney is where I start for getting essentially stock assets, creative stock assets, because you can come up with so much stuff. I also come up with all the illustrations that I use for the AI-driven marketer. Like here's the last one I used for the last podcast episode I did on AI-driven marketer. But of course, while you could use this stock thing that comes out of MidJourney, I usually like to do a little bit more design, which comes to my seventh and last tool that I'm using AI on all the time, and that's just old-fashioned Photoshop. I used to be a graphic designer, and I don't recommend Photoshop unless you have some experience with it or want to dive into the deep end on it, because it is a beefy tool. It takes time to learn. Canva probably has some good alternatives for this, but I can't lie. Photoshop is still a tool that I use almost every single day. And this is just a template that I made for Close Mode, a show that I produce. But there's a very consistent, while I use a couple AI tools in here, there's one tool that I use more than anything else, and that's just generative fill. It used to be that I'd have to take a photo like this and then somehow force it to be fill out the frame that I have here. But now with generative fill, I can get the photo right where I want it and then just say expand, and then bam, it comes up with the rest of the photo. I bet you can't even tell where the MidJourney image starts and the expand fill actually filled in where this fake sales man with boxing gloves is now, right? Because it's so seamless. It did such a good job in filling in what needed to be filled in there so that I could put the right thing in the right place and then fill in with AI everything else. It is a freaking magic tool and is a game changer for any of the design projects that I've ever worked on. Just this simple fill option. I know Adobe has a lot more AI tools in the works, and I use some of them with Illustrator and some other ones with, but this generative fill is freaking magic. In fact, actually, I think you can do this with MidJourney these days. You can actually go and fill it to the right or to the left. So I could have MidJourneyed my way through it. I think I could even circle it and just ask it to prompt to fill in this. But I just find that Photoshop, since I'm already doing the design there, it's better. It's faster at generative fill than MidJourney is. So I kind of stick to it that way. But if you're not a Photoshop person, you could probably just get away with just doing it in Photoshop, because I'm pretty sure there is an edit button. In fact, I know there's an edit button. I don't use it because I use Photoshop. You can actually go to edit a image and just I could circle this guy and say, hey, make this a blank wall, and it would just get rid of it. So there's only one guy sitting in this picture, for example. If I weren't a graphic designer already doing stuff in Photoshop, I would just be using MidJourney. But I had to become clean. I am using Photoshop almost every day with the AI tools in it. And there you have it. There are my 7 favorite AI tools that I'm using on a near daily basis. There's a lot of them out there. I will probably adopt more in the future, but for now, these 7 are making me fly, and I'm able to do more and better and faster as a marketer by leveraging these AI tools. Thank you so much for listening to the AI Driven Marketer. If this show was any good, please give it a 5-star or whatever star rating you think it deserves on the podcast app that you're listening to, and tap that thumbs up button on YouTube. And if you want to dive deeper into AI and you're still not sure if you've mastered the fundamentals, go to my free AI course at aidrivenmarketer.com and take a look. Learn the fundamentals, and you will never have to look for a prompt cheat sheet again. 5 video series, and you'll even find that I've customized the course so it's hyper personalized for you, your role, and the people you're marketing to. Take a look at it, and let's get started so we can do more with AI today.